entered the boiler room. It's Friday night live radio here on UCY.TV. You are listening to Boiler Room, and I am your host, Jim Funke. I will be with you for the next 60 minutes. Lance Musser is in the car on the way home. I'm going to add him in about 5 minutes. So until then, we're going to jump on into the second half of the Market Minute. We'll do it first, run through our videos, and let Lance get home and get parked and safe and in the house where it's nice and cozy warm. So let me jump over here to the YouTube page and pull up the videos. We will give the Hyper Report their chance to run. And they've done something new to the YouTube page. Your subscriptions are no longer on the side like they used to be. You have to go over and select all that crap. And it's just a pain in the butt. Cause then you gotta hit the more thing or you gotta go over to my subscriptions and scroll way down, and it takes forever to find the video that you want, and just what a pain in the ass. Why don't they quit screwing with stuff and leave it alone, you know? Because I can't scroll down over there. So I'm going to sit here and run my gums until I find my Hyper Report video, because it came out early this morning, and I'm going to have to scroll back through everything that I've gone through today. What a pain in the butt. Here we go. Sorry about that, folks.
Hello, this is Scott, and it's a Hyper Report. Here are the quotes for various items. First, GOD two-step. We are being told that gold is flowing back into GOD as a sign that investors are returning to the sector. Yet, GOD physical gold inventory year-to-date fell from 798 to about 795 metric tons. Any additions to the inventory during this time were followed by quick subsequent withdrawals by those in Asia. Next, trust lost. The Eurozone is still going through a break-in test, and the US dollar is gradually losing its status as the leading global currency. National currencies are only backed by the holdings of other nations' currencies that are only backed by promises. To that end, if there is nothing intrinsic backing these currencies, then they are all worthless. This is why it is best not to fight central banks like the Fed, but instead, after preparing to buy physical gold, silver, and other real assets for when trust in currencies is finally lost. Next, why didn't someone tell us? Vulnerable Senate Democrats who voted for Obamacare are now asking why didn't anyone tell them that it would cut Medicare. Make no mistake, this play-dumb routine is not going to work on anyone. The November elections are getting closer, and Americans are getting more infuriated over this Marxist scheme. Of course, ballless Republicans are no better. Next, banks are obsolete. Technology has leapfrogged the banking sector, rendering it as obsolete as buggy whips. So, why devote 9% of the economy to an obsolete parasite? Software and existing non-corrupt financial entities could replace the entire financial Ponzi scheme sector and drop costs to 0.5% of GDP. Next, Walmart misses revenues. There are two things to take away from the fact that Walmart's revenue went down due to cuts in food stamps. One, if Walmart isn't doing well, the rest of the economy isn't doing well. Two, if Walmart depends that heavily on government-subsidized shoppers for income, the subsidies need to be cut. In short, Walmart needs to sink or swim in the private sector. Next, NSA Defender. Gun-grabbing hypocrite Dianne Feinstein is coming to the rescue of the NSA that has taken an international beating. Yes, this repulsive sea hag from hell actually believes, despite clear evidence otherwise, that the NSA's illegal activities have safeguarded Americans. In the end, Dianne Feinstein will go down in history with the same level of disgust as Marie Antoinette. Finally, please prepare now for the escalating economic and social unrest. Good day.
Dianne Feinstein. Nancy Pelosi. These people are going to go down in history as the ones that let this country go to hell. That were behind the wheel as it went off the cliff. The Obama administration, Congress, everyone on Capitol Hill. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. There's a reckoning coming, everybody. I think you all know that. I can't wait. Let's listen to Greg.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Greg Manarino. How are you today? It is Friday, February 21st, 2014. All right, people, I'm going to cover a lot of things in this video that I think are very important. We really can be, at this moment, at the precipice of a major move in this stock market. I want to cover some of that. Let's just do some current events here. Right now, the market is closed. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finished down 30 points. The S&P also, NASDAQ finished down today. We did see bonds gain. We're also seeing the movement of cash into commodities. People, I've gone over this many times. You need to pay attention to the movement of cash. It's very telling here. I've gone over since the middle of last week, how I started to take up short positions, that is buying puts against this market. I added to those positions today. As a matter of fact, when I woke up this morning, I'm here on West Coast time. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up about 45 points. Without even looking at anything else, because this is pretty much how certain I am that we are going to see a pullback here. I added to every single one of my bearish calls on this market. Check my site, traderschoice.net. You will see my positions. There's a link right down here in the description of this video. That's what I have been doing, people. I started doing this in the middle of last week. I came out. I told all of you that. I have been adding to them. I added to them again today. It's very important, people, because I want to put this all together for you. So today again, we get another shot across the bow, bad economic news. Existing home sales plummeted to being blamed on the weather. It's interesting because the greatest fall was in the West where there was no snow. Okay, so they're looking for every opportunity to bend this and twist this to keep the party going. I think there's a strong possibility that we are at the end of this party, people. And I firmly believe, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is, okay, that this market is poised for a fall, which could be significant. So I want to be on the right side of that trade, and it's exactly where I want all of you to be. Very important. I did a video yesterday, discussing a particular pattern that we're seeing here in the long-term trends with regard to the stock market. Click this little head right here. It'll take you to my channel. The title of that video was "A Major Market Crash May Be Imminent." And the more I look into this, the more I think about it and ponder it. I believe that may be true here. Again, anything can happen, people, but I'm going to always urge you to do your own homework. But I also want you to look at my track record as of late. Let me just go over that real quick. First of all, you go to my site, traderschoice.net. Again, there's a link right down here. You can see the performance of every one of my positions on the equity list page year to date. Let's go over another thing that's really important, okay? Right before this correction of 6% or so that we had, I told all of you it was going to happen. I also told all of you, almost to the day, I called it. Check my site. Click the head, okay? I also said over and over and over it would not last. I said specifically that the market would recoup all of those losses, and it has, okay? So I am saying now, I believe we are going to drop again. Now, this is the key difference between then and now. Very important. So when that market was falling, I came out here. I told all of you what I was doing. I was buying the dips because I was sure it was going to rebound. Very profitable for me. It worked out perfectly. This time, I'm not planning on doing that. I am planning on going short. I already am short. I will add to those positions on the way down. Now, when this turns around, I'm planning on making cash on both sides of that trade, and I will keep all of you right on top of it. I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. And I hope you're paying attention, people, because this here is the goose that lays the golden freaking eggs. Okay?
He's kind of talking to the homies on Wall Street, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that out. Lance isn't here yet. I have him added to the call. Wait a minute. I think I just, there he is. He just picked up. Good evening, Lance, brother.
Hey, what's going on?
How's your butts?
They are looking so good.
Are they really?
Yeah, it's so good.
Wow. Were you hearing any of the Reno I was playing, or were you kind of?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was listening to it on the car.
Okay. Well, I kind of dropped him off because he started talking to the homies, like I said.
Yep.
But the thing I want you to reiterate to the folks, because, I mean, I know what he's talking about and you know what he's talking about, and, you know, probably most everybody out there does, but just for layman's terms, the reason that he's going short on everything is because why?
He's following George Soros's lead.
And it's coming. Yeah. The crash is imminent.
That chart is very damning. The one I dropped, in the room the other night.
Yep. Wednesday.
Yes. The correlation chart from 1929 to now is just downright scary. Scary.
Yeah. And he's where are we at? Are we here? Question mark. You know, are we going to go down? Are we going to break out of this mold, the wedge? Are we going to, I don't think so.
And it's interesting because he did a visual on the one that we watched, where he did a double yesterday. Mm-hmm. And, the chart that we looked at, it was very scary again, because if you look at the heartbeats, if you will, we are a quarter market wise above where it was in 29 before the crash. So the 08 crash, if it would have crashed in 08, it would have stayed at the exact same line. Are you following me there?
Right.
So because they're manipulating this and kept it going on for the last 5 years, that's why the chart has even gone higher than what the 1929 chart is, just because they didn't let it crash in 08 like they should have.
Right.
Exciting times. If
you like riding the train, if you like riding the roller coaster, if you like someone else being in control of your destiny.
It is, we're all along for the ride, whether we like it or not, because it's not like we have,
a choice.
Well, there's so many of us that if all of us woke up at the same time, we could probably do something. But as long as somebody's going to be staying in the room watching the playoffs or Final Fours getting ready to come up again, the college basketball, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. So you want to take off with your Smoke'em's Market Minute? I mean, you're kind of doing it now, but I mean, have you got anything pulled out? Any articles that you want to go over? Any more bankers die? Did any more bankers die?
This is the first time I've turned on my computer. I have
today.
been smoking butts since 7 o'clock this morning.
Woo. Well, let's go into that. You want to tell everybody what's getting ready to happen tomorrow during Ragnarok?
Sure. Yeah. Ragnarok's happening tomorrow. End of the world.
End of the world tomorrow, everybody.
I'm going down in a ball of flames, or a ball of smoke, if you will. Cooked 15 butts today, feeding 240 people tomorrow, and cooking 120 chicken quarters tomorrow on the smoker. Yummy. Oh, and beans. Beans with sausage, ketchup, mustard, relish, syrup, brown sugar, etc.
Potato salad?
No potato salad. I do coleslaw and baked beans. Nice. Yeah, potato salad's on our menu, but not for this event. We just did coleslaw, Southern barbecue.
Nice.
So you'll see plenty of pictures and videos.
Oh yeah. Too bad we don't have smell-o-vision. Did you get the bacon in the mail yet?
No.
Just checking.
Nope.
Just checking.
It's still frozen, staying fresh.
Okay. Right on. That's good. All right. So, you didn't do any Smoke'em's Market Minute updates or anything like that. And, who are you cooking for again? The Boy Sprouts?
Yep. They're doing where they get their merit badges. That's what it is. Where they, get their awards, and it's a big hoodoo. It's one of the local troops. I don't even know what you call them.
Not an Order of the Arrow thing, huh?
No. Isn't that a Boy Scout thing?
Yeah, that's Boy Scouts.
Okay, yeah. Well, these are Boy Scouts. That's right. They're young ones.
Cub Scouts.
I guess 7. No, I guess it is Boy Scouts. So it's 17 and under. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if, I'll make sure to have the camera in there tomorrow. Right on. So if there's that fist fight over the last serving of coleslaw, and if there's a brawl,
we're going to drop it on live leaks, man.
If a brouhaha,
yep,
ensues over the food, I'll make sure to film it for you.
Brawl over the butts at Smoke'em's.
So it's exciting. I got officially nervous yesterday because this is my first gig this big for sure.
Right on.
So it's,
all you got to do, man. Don't be getting nervous. You just got to do what you do. You know what you're doing. Everybody that you fed your shit to likes your shit. So
at least that's what they've said.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to lie to your face.
No.
Right. And you'll be there to witness any vomiting that happens if should it happen. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know my biggest fear is, that somebody gets food poisoning or something, but
that's not going to happen.
I'm set. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I wish y'all could be there.
Yeah, me too. Maybe we ought to try to get that together, man, at UCY barbecue sometime over the summer.
I've heard you guys either on Jules' shows talk about it or maybe on the After the Last Cup talk about that. I've heard that run around.
Postulated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It takes a lot of money and people don't have a lot of money. Anyway, so I gotta go back to something that you texted me earlier today. You said there was a lot of sorties flying over your head today during the inclement weather, even. So
it was. I had give you a backstory so all the listeners can follow. Mm-hmm. I was out of my mom and dad's house, which is, I guess it's the Gloucester River or the Pocosin River, which is only 5 minutes away from the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, it leads out really easy. Patrick Henry Airport, which is that civilian airport.
With all the military flights going in and out, yes. Where
they built a bunker, hangar, all the way on the other side of the runway, built them their own runway on that side so it doesn't interfere with commercial traffic. I saw no less than 20 flights just circling around. F-22s I saw, those two, that Delta Wing plane I saw.
Yeah, like the French looking Mirage one. Yeah.
It was like a French looking Mirage one.
Mm-hmm,
Then I saw another big one that was huge, and it had 2 of the underwing fuel pods on each side, and I had some pretty powerful binoculars, so I was able to really look at them.
Oh, nice. No camera, I suppose.
Nah, I wish it did. It's got the stabilizer on it, which is just awesome for me to be able to see it. And that's why I was looking at that gray camo plane, not one marking on it. And the plane looked like it was at the end of my driveway because that's how good these binoculars are. No markings on it. Gray and, let's see, light gray and dark gray camouflage.
Did it say UN anywhere?
Nope. I was looking for it on the front, on the back. Most of them were marked on the tail.
Yeah, no numbers. You didn't see any numbers, no tail numbers, no nothing. Huh? It was like a ghost flight.
Did not see any. Nope. And
imagine that.
E6s, is that what they're called? The Navy ones with the radar dome? I think it's an E6.
EA6.
Yeah,
Prowler.
EA6. Mm-hmm. Yep. Saw at least 2 of them just making round and around circles, touch and go, landing, then they take off and come back around at least for 30 minutes straight. So, I was sitting out there all day. I sat out there in the chair, stoked the fire and looked at my stuff. At least 20 non-commercial airplanes were out there flying today.
Makes you want
practicing.
Yeah.
Practicing, but you know how much it costs to fly one of those things?
That fuel's just enormously expensive.
Good thing the military budget
is unlimited.
Doesn't have a budget.
Yeah. $500 billion. Got it covered.
Yeah. But they'll make our military veterans suffer by cutting their pay, and those will be the first ones to get their 401.
Congress votes themselves raises all the time. Didn't they just vote themselves a raise when they cut the veterans benefits back?
I don't remember.
Pretty sure.
Usually they do give themselves a pay raise.
Yeah, every year. Cost of living, man. Got to pay for all those properties they own.
It rolls downhill. The people at the bottom are the ones suffering.
Who, me and you? Yep.
Military. E4s and below, that you can still qualify for food stamps if you're an E4 and below, is pretty pitiful.
The amount of active duty soldiers that have gone on food stamps since 2009 has gone up 56%. 56%.
Now, why is that? Have they lowered the standards to get on that?
Cost of living has gone through the roof, dude. When you go to the store. Come on, you can't tell me you haven't watched the prices go through the roof. Look, when Obama took office
before, that's what I'm saying.
Because they made enough to be able to make it.
Oh,
right? Their salaries haven't gone up over the last 10 years.
3%, 2%, 1%, 2%, 3%.
Right, not keeping up with cost of inflation. When Obama took office, man, regular gasoline was like $1.79 a gallon. Right?
I saw that meme today. It was on a gas station, and it said $1.86, $1.96, and $2.06. And what did it say?
Just kidding. That's what prices were when Obama took office.
Right.
In Illinois, it was $1.79 a gallon or something like that.
However, I will say
it's $3.15 now.
That one of the typical economic factors of when an economy is doing really, really, really bad, the gas prices go really, really, really low before there's a crash of some sort. And it's not an indicator this time.
Nothing is an indicator this time, dude. Wall Street doesn't even pay attention to all the indicators. They don't, bad news. Hey, let's bump the market. Good news. Hey, let's bump the market. You can't, gasoline went up yesterday. It was one of the only commodities that went up.
It's gone up at least 8 or 9 cents in the past week per gallon around here.
It's over $110 a barrel.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous because this country's not burning that much now. People aren't traveling people, they're, plowing the streets and stuff like that. Maybe they got a big little boost out of it, trying to fuel all the trucks and whatnot. But,
well, the speculators are the ones that keep it up.
That too. Buying in advance, locking in prices, yada, yada. Major fuel purchases for airlines and stuff. Municipalities. Where else are we going to go, man? I mean, what else can we do in this country? What other hammer can they drop on us before some kind of false flag has to hit, man? Something has to break soon. It has to break soon. Nobody's paying attention to Syria anymore. They don't give a shit what goes on down there. So it's got to happen in this country. Something's got to happen in this country or they're not going to, you know what I mean? That's got to be the next domino. Cause, we still get the stories out of Iraq and Afghanistan and there's still soldiers dying but it's just not making any dents anymore,
There are actually, economists, government-funded economists, who firmly believe that the way to get yourself out of a recession is by starting a war, because then you get the war dollars.
Well, shit, we got 3 or 4 going right now, man. So where's all the money?
Well, we need a new one. That's what I'm saying. Those people are saying we need a new one. And I'm just like, oh, crazy. There's some people that shouldn't be allowed to walk around.
Right. But look, the point I was trying to get at is look at Ukraine. Ukraine is on freaking fire. Okay. And nothing's being said here. Little blurbs, 30-second sound bites. Oh, a couple of cops got shot in the Ukraine today, blah, 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 blah. No, it's like over 100 people now. I think 20 plus cops and over 80 plus civilians have been killed in the last 48 hours in that city, in Kiev, where it's all on fire. It's
interesting though, Jimmy, because I am hearing a lot about it.
Because we watch different.
And no, I'm just saying if I was an actual nobody know-it-all and I listened to the radio or watched any kind of news, it is on the news. Excuse me. It is on the radio and everything else, but they're not talking about why they're fighting. They're just, they're blaming the protesters. They're blaming the government. They're not saying, hey, look, these people pulled out of the Soviet Union way back when, 90 something, and they were promised they'd be part of the EU. And now they want to go back under Putin, and Putin wants to start the Soviet Union again.
So, to that effect. I mean, he wants to be like his own European Union, the Russian Union, whatever right. I guess that would be, the United Soviet Socialist Republic. But I think he's got eyes on world power status, being the be all end all. He wants to be what the U.S. has been for the last 100 years or whatever, 50 years or whatever. He wants to start his own little empire going. He's got delusions of grandeur. But I think that he's part of the big game too, though, man. I think he's got cards in the big game too. I mean, with all the posturing and the chest pumping and all that, him talking crap about Obama and whatever, I still think when push comes to shove, they're on the phone talking a couple times a month. Yeah, you know what I mean? Well, not so much as, in front of the cameras or whatever, or with people knowing about it, but,
right.
Just saying, hey, here's what Rockefeller said, man. What do you think? And then Rothschild chimed in with this. What do you think? I got to believe that this is all just a put on, man. It's all a put on. They're trying to control everybody around the planet. The whole reason this thing's going on in Ukraine is because we are backing the rebels that want Yanukovych out. Mm-hmm. We want regime change in there, just like we did in Libya and Syria and Iraq and, Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, the way I look at Putin is and this is a weird term because I think it's an impossible term, ex-KGB. I don't think you're ever ex KGB, just like you're probably never ex-CIA or ex-FBI. I mean, unless you're going to turn whistleblower, you're always going to be, you're like a Marine. They're brainwashed. So I think, you know, he's ex-KGB. Why would you think he'd want to do anything different?
Exactly. Plus, I think he knows all the inside dope about who actually runs this country. You know, he knows it's not Obama. That's why he can throw fingers in his eye. You know, I mean, that's why he can say the things that he says and get away with it. You know, because if we were actually a sovereign country and not under control of the banks and the military industrial complex, and somebody piped off like that about our president, you know, it'd be on. It'd be on, right? You don't say that shit about the United States. You don't call their leader a imbecile or whatever he called him. I mean, he said he's either completely stupid or, you know, on the take. So that kind of stuff, that's why I think they're all part of the big game. You know, it's just not jiving with me anymore. I don't trust anything from anybody anymore.
I think the game plan changed when he stood up for Assad and told us, get the hell back. That's the first time it's ever been done. I've talked about that before on the show.
That's why I think he's got delusions of grandeur.
Me too.
You know,
trying to bring back the glory days of the old former
Soviet Union, right? He wants to be one of the big pushers on the block. He wants to be a world power. Like he is already. I mean, he knows he is because he's got the third largest navy or the second largest navy or whatever.
Is he part of Bilderberg?
I've never seen his name.
Me
I've
either.
Never seen his name on any of the lists.
Me either.
And you see him from all over. You see him from Germany, from Saudi Arabia, from France, but no, I don't ever recall seeing a Russian name on there unless it was, you know, somebody under a pseudonym.
Well, it could be a Russian banker of some sort would probably be in there. But I mean, I've never seen his name associated with the Bilderberg group.
Nope. Or the Trilateral Commission or any other, you know. So maybe he is an outsider. I doubt it. You can't get to that position and be an outsider.
He's been to more of the Olympic events than any other leader that I can ever remember in history. I mean, he's gone to a lot of these events, and that's
in his backyard.
Exactly. That's pretty impressive, you know, as a leader of a country. I mean, he's
all about Russia. I mean, if you listen to him talk, you know, in front of his citizens, in front of his countrymen, he's all about Russia. I think it was last year he came out and he said, look, you people need to start getting married, having families, raising kids, keeping your money here. I think he put a moratorium on foreign bank investments and shit. He said, no, you can only have 10% of your holdings in foreign countries or currency or whatever. If you want to be in Russia, you invest in Russia. And then he did the whole thing with the immigrants. He said, we don't need you. You need us.
If minorities prefer Sharia law, how do you say it?
Sharia law. Then
we advise them to go to those places where that's the state law. Russia does not need minorities. Minorities need Russia, and we will not grant them special privileges or try to change our laws to fit their desires, no matter how loud they yell discrimination.
Yeah. That's like the opposite of the United States. That's like anti-politically correct. You know,
it's very anti-politically correct, but America is a bunch of hypocrites because we stole this land from people that were already here. And for us to say and shout out about immigration, you don't speak the language, go home. Hypocrites. I mean, go back and look at our history. You know, people were here first. Those people have been established for thousands of years in their sovereign nations. I mean, we're a mixing pot, which is good, but for us to come down on somebody else because they want to come over here, I just have a hard time buying it.
Well, he basically said what Thomas Jefferson said way back in the day. You know, if you want to be an American, you need to be an American.
Mm-hmm.
throw everything else off and come over here and be an American. But look what we've done, man. We bend over for everybody.
I can't.
Go ahead.
I've lived in Europe for 10 years. I've lived in a lot of places. I don't ever remember having to make a phone call and press another button to hear a different language. Because if you call somewhere else in the world, there ain't no Spanish option. No English option.
You go to their
France,
country.
You're getting the France option.
You go to their country unless you walk into a like a regular restaurant like we have here. You go into a motel or something and expect them to speak English to you. They'll laugh you out of the place. Like, you're in my country. You talk my language. You speak my language. If you don't, it's hard for you to get along.
Spanish. Go into the supermarket and pick up a Kraft macaroni and cheese.
I know everything's double printed.
It's double printed.
Yeah. What kind of waste is that? What kind of,
Well, that's why they won't label for GMOs in Washington, because
you buy something and it's got instructions in 25 different languages.
Yes, it does. I understand that though, because it's sold worldwide.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
I understand picking up an instruction booklet and it comes from China and it would be shipped all around the world. I'm okay with that. Getting an instruction manual in 12 different languages. But here,
to pull up to an ATM and have to choose English? Not.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. I remember the first time that happened to me.
Yeah. Or to dial an American company and have to select English on the options. Well, maybe, I don't know. I kind of go
everywhere though.
I know it is.
Think of some place that you call that's automated that doesn't have a Spanish option.
Right.
And I can tell you why. I mean, because they're voters and there's people that are going to try to buy those votes because those people still think their votes count.
Not unless you work for Diebold. I don't know, man. This country's just so upside down. Sometimes, I try to keep a positive attitude about things. And when I get up in the morning, I look for a reason to smile. I actually have one. So I try to fill my life with that. I try to fill every day with that. I got some stuff accomplished today too that actually gets me pretty excited.
Did you start out the show with that? I missed the beginning of the show with what you did today.
I dove right into the Hyper Report. Actually, I started out with a little mini rant about YouTube and how they changed the channel. Now you can't select your crap on the left side.
On the left side.
Yeah, that's just yuck. But anyway, no, I just dove right into the videos until you got here. So no, I didn't go into my thing today.
Oh, you should, because that is one of the most, drop the video in that room if you can, because that is it's
still on my phone.
So awesome. That was, you probably have to load it up through YouTube and bring it down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is, awesome.
Yeah, it's not too bad, man. Got the 400 watt panels put up today. Me and Crystal, she came over and helped out. We got everything mounted up, the brackets and everything mounted up, and it's all on the post and in the ground and concreted in. Got the tracker assembly
mounted. The 10 inches?
15 3/4. I went 15 3/4 into the ground, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, and then, got the tracker mounted up and got the box mounted and
so the tracker makes it follow the sun. Is that what that does?
Right. It's got, like 4 little tiny solar panels on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all sit at a certain angle. They're all 90 degrees from each other. And, as the sun tracks across the sky, it hits those solar panels and they put out a different wattage. The farther they touch the sun, it's going to get a little hotter. It's going to go a little higher. The wattage is going to go a little higher, and it's just minimal. It's like milliamps.
Mm.
But the brain box recognizes the difference in the wattage between those 4 little panels, and it adjusts the panel until it's got the same amount of wattage on all those little panels. And then that means that you're pointed directly at the sun. And, so it keeps all 400 watts pointed directly at the sun. And when you do that, when you track the sun across the sky, you make about 30% more power than having to go out and manually adjust. Cause you never, you always got to kind of chase your shadow. You got to chase the shadow.
Because most of them I've seen are fixed before. So when I saw and I heard the motor start moving on the video, I was like, man, that thing moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an east-west actuator and a north-south actuator. So it'll.
For the different seasons.
Right. So it'll adjust for the track in the sky, you know. And then east to west across the horizon. It's badass, dude. I like it.
Pretty darn cool. Yeah. So if the grid were to go down, would that knock out the grid, or you'd be able to get that back up?
Oh no, it's going to be solely, you know, independent. I don't have a grid tie system. I'm not designing a grid tie system. I'm designing an off-grid system. Mm-hmm. So once I get everything wired in and, you know, ready to go.
Would an EMP or a solar flare knock that out?
Most of this stuff is shielded against an EMP. Up to a X10 is what they tell you, depending on, but you know, you got to take everything into consideration. I mean, a lot of these people that are talking about EMPs and stuff right now, they don't realize how thin the atmosphere is on this planet. It's the thinnest it's been in recorded history. It's about a third as thick as it should be. You know, our atmosphere right now is very, very
porous,
non-existent. Well, I don't know how many of you people out there watch, you know, solar stuff or track the sun or watch any of the different stuff that NASA puts out, you know, all the little satellites they got looking at, you know, the magnetosphere and all that kind of stuff. But there's a ring around our planet where they've got the GOES satellites, and they're out there pretty far. I don't think they're in geosynchronous orbit, so they're way, way out there, and they kind of stay where they are. You know, they've tracked with the Earth. They kind of follow the Earth's rotation. Our magnetosphere is supposed to be out past that. I don't know, like another 100 miles or so. And sometimes it's not. I mean, over the last couple of days, we've been getting pounded with these CMEs and these plasma ejections that have been coming off of the sun at a pretty rapid clip. And a couple of those pushes that we've gotten, and these things, you know, when you put pressure on the atmosphere like that, it puts pressure on the Earth, and that causes earthquakes. You can kind of connect these dots if you do the, you know, if you really want to do it. But the push from these CMEs over the last couple of days has pushed our magnetosphere inside the orbit of those satellites, of those GOES satellites. And that's very, very close to Earth. You know, like too close. That means that we're getting a hell of a lot of solar radiation.
Yeah, stuff's not glancing blows as much anymore.
No, we're getting smacked in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And with the atmosphere as thin as it is and the solar radiation coming in as it is, if you listen to Dane's show on Saturdays about the geoengineering, when he talks about the methane releases from the bottom of the ocean and stuff, that solar radiation, number one, it gives you sunburns a lot quicker, but it heats up the center of the planet more than it does the outside. You know what I mean? So when the center of the Earth gets warm, it heats up the oceans from the bottom up instead of from the top down like it's supposed to.
With the release of methane, I think is what it was.
Exactly. And that's what causes the methane hydrate to release from the bottom of the ocean, because usually it's frozen. I mean, the bottom of the ocean is pretty darn cold. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But when the mantle starts getting warm, then that means that the bottom of the ocean starts warming up too. And it only takes like 2, 3, 4 degrees to release some methane from the, you know, it's like when you wake up in the morning and it's 31, your ice, there's frost all over your windshield. It gets to 33 and it's gone. Right? Same deal. So.
Tell the inner Earth people to cool it down.
Yeah. You ant people, start running your ACs.
That's right. They're having a big barbecue down there.
But, you know, it's, stuff's coming. You can just feel something's coming. The whole thing's getting tossed around. I'm watching all these battles in Ukraine going on, and look, man, they got the rebels, if you want to call them the rebels. We'll just call them the rebels in the government, right? The protesters in the government. How about that? The protesters are firing weapons at the cops, and they've hit like 20 of them and put them in the hospital with bullet wounds, right? So a couple of days ago, the government said, well, hey, if they're going to shoot at us, then we'll shoot back. So they gave them the go-ahead to go out there with live ammo. And you see these police officers running around now, these statists, with Kalashnikovs, and they got snipers on the roofs that are poking guys. I mean, they had a reporter in a window of a building, and this was on Live Leaks, and I think it was on CNN. I think they played a part of this clip on CNN. Pigmine had it. And I think you posted it yesterday on Facebook when I dropped it to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch these protesters. They're running up the street. They got their little shields and rocks in their hands or whatever. And you can hear the snipers open up. Pow, 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 pow. And then these guys start dropping like flies, man. They're shooting them through the leg. They're shooting them in the groin. They're shooting them in the chest. They're shooting them in the head. Mm-hmm. I've seen them. I mean, they were dragging guys off that you could tell they were stone cold dead. You know, that cat's dead. And they're just dragging his body back behind the lines. They go up to try to help somebody out that'd been hit and screaming out for them to help them. And the guys start running up there with their shields and pow, pow, pow. They drop them too. How's it going to go, man? How far is this going to go over there? Is this going to be a full-blown revolution, man? Are we watching, you know, because when you saw the stuff in Cyprus, it was pretty bad, right? Those guys were rioting. They were throwing rocks at shit. But then it all quelled. They went away. They decided, hey, they got the country. What are we going to do now? They got the country. They got all our money. What are we going to do? They're not living here. The Troika is not from Cyprus. We can't go to their houses and rout them out. So they gave up. Then the protests started in Italy and France.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave up.
Argentina, everywhere.
Venezuela's on fire, people. As bad
really
as the
bad
Ukraine.
right now.
As bad as the Ukraine, but you're not seeing a damn thing about that on TV.
Not one. And those protesters are getting killed, I mean, by their government too.
Yeah.
We need a reset. We need an EMP to hit this planet and knock out the governments, take us back to the 1800s.
But I got to tell you, that's great. I've been saying that for a while now. Praying for it almost.
Me too.
But I got to tell you, with the amount of technology that they've got at their disposal, I think that they could walk right through that EMP and come out the other side smiling and giggling and still have everything in their fingertips.
The military-industrial complex?
And the governments.
Well, that's the government, the military-industrial complex.
But that's what I'm saying. But, you know, everybody else on the planet's going to be, you know, pounding dirt. And these guys are going to be, you know, they'll still have the drones at their disposal. You know, I got to think that they've planned for all this because they've had our money to do whatever the hell they wanted to do, right? They spend it on whatever they wanted to spend it on, right? So I think they've planned for all of this. I think they've got contingencies set for all this. So it's going to be.
That was the grid down exercise that they just did not too long ago. They tried that.
That's what they showed the public, dude. I'm talking about what do they got buried underground? What do they got in these dumbs? You know those dumbs exist. That's not hyperbole. That's not tinfoil hat shit. Those things are really there.
Wouldn't get affected, would they?
Exactly. Some of them are 2 miles into the earth, you know,
right.
And you can read anything about an EMP. If you want to safeguard yourself from an X-20, all you need is 8 feet over the top of your head or 4 inches of steel.
Of steel, yeah. Or lead or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
But 8 feet of earth will block an X-20. When you come out, it's going to be pretty shitty on the surface. You know what I mean? Everything's going to be burnt up and, you know, nothing's going to work, but you'll be alive. All the electronics that you had down there with you will work. I'm not saying this to be able to talk to anybody else, but you know what I mean?
Right.
8 feet of earth. That's all it takes. So if they've got, go ahead.
A reset's the only thing that's ever going to get us out of the mess that we're in right now. Worldwide, I mean.
Right, but the only, that's the thing I'm saying is that, you know, if the solar flare happens, they'll come out of the bunkers and they'll still have their drones and shit at their disposal. They'll still have all their, you know, military power. They'll still have all their whatevers. The only kind of reset that we're going to be able to achieve is if we ignore them and make them go away.
There will be two people that vote, and then they'll call it a fair and balanced election. So, I mean, ignoring them isn't going to help because not everybody's going to ignore them.
I know.
Because there's people that still believe that Democrats are good or Republicans are good and don't understand that they all work for the same corporation.
Well, you try to tell people and they just don't listen.
Well, I try every day. I mean, that's why you have a radio show. That's one of the reasons the station's here.
Exactly. And still, from time to time, you think you're beating your head against the wall. You know? I still do from time to time.
Yep. And I always just say, hey, they'll call me crazy till they figure out I was right.
So if a revolution's not going to do it because we can't get enough people to wake up, and a solar flare is not going to do it because I think that they've got a plan B for that one. What's it going to take? Aliens? Nibiru? Pole shift?
That would do it.
Crustal displacement. I don't think just the magnetic pole shifting would do it. I think it would take a crustal displacement.
I mean, supposedly in a pole shift, you'll get the tsunamis, 100-foot waves, wipe out 100 miles inland of every coastal area.
That's a crustal displacement. You know, the magnetic poles just flip. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they've been doing that for a while.
Right. And you can see that in the, magma.
Yeah, and the sun's just reversed,
twice.
A month ago. Yeah.
Right. Went to a quad pole for a little while.
That was a really cool graphic. I think SO had that out.
But what else? I mean, is that what it's going to take? I mean, are we going to have to see some kind of, global catastrophe to get this thing shaken loose? Is it going to take,
we need mainstream media to tell the truth. That's what we need.
Oh my God.
We need mainstream media to tell the truth and wake these people up because they won't believe it till they hear it on mainstream media.
Yeah, but the big boys own the media. The guys that own this country own the media.
Oh, I know. I mean, you're not telling me nothing I don't know, but
but that's like,
that's one of those things that's, not going to happen. Because if they do, I think the Department of Justice now, I saw this article yesterday or today, is talking about putting cameras in every one of the newsrooms so they can monitor them. Yeah, that was a big story today.
Like a George Orwell overseer.
Man, if that doesn't scare.
And then they just had something drop a little bit ago that said, "Oh, we think we're going to back off of that. We don't think we need monitors in the newsrooms," because everybody's been bitching about it for the last 2 days.
And the news people would never stand for it. They would never
You're going to let somebody
for it.
stand over your back and watch what you write, and hey, you can't do that.
Like, look, you're already telling us what to write. Now you're going to overly micromanage us. We're already doing your bidding. So
right, and you got a file on every one of us anyway. So if somebody says something you don't like, just pull their file and go talk to them independently. You know what I mean? Let the rest of it flow. Let the rest of it flow. Mm-hmm. You guys slip and tell the truth anyway every once in a while. So who cares, right?
Every once in a while.
And you're and here, let me just talk directly to Barry for a little bit and his little cronies up there on Capitol Hill. Mm-hmm. Mr. Sotoro, you're being such a blatant asshole over the last 8 years that you've been in office. Why don't you just go ahead and tell the truth anyway? Because, you're doing what you want to do no matter what. No matter what anybody in this country says, no matter what the polls tell you, you do what you're told to do. And the cover-ups are just ridiculous, man. You can see right through, maybe not the fluoride heads, okay? I give you. You got some sheep that follow you, and they believe every word you say. I'll give you that. You're pretty, I don't know, Peter Piper-ish. When you read your teleprompter. When you're on the fly, You ain't got it, brother. But just go ahead and tell the truth. You know, tell the people the truth. Just tell them, hey, we're screwing you every day. Wall Street's a joke. We manipulate the price of gold. So just tell them. Just tell us the truth, man. You know, because trying to cut through all your BS when you're on TV, blowing the lies all over it's getting old, man. It's getting old. I'm getting tired of it. I'm getting bored with it. You know, it'd be refreshing. Seriously, just tell the truth. You gotta wonder
if they think they are telling the truth.
If they believe they're bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You got like I don't know if they have a new White House press secretary. I haven't seen that guy lately. How can they get up there every day and say this stuff and then believe it? I mean, that's a
expect us to believe
liar. Yeah.
Right. I don't know, man.
It's a pathological liar.
It makes me sick, honestly. I mean, it makes me not physically ill, but it makes me disgusted at this country that you would put somebody like that in charge. You know, number one, he was not vetted from the get. And that used to be the big thing, man. Back in the 80s, they vetted the crap out of everybody, man, because after Watergate, they wanted to know who was who.
And now they're just picked.
Selected, not elected. Selected. You know, if you don't go to the Bilderberg, you ain't going to go to the White House. It's just that simple. You look back over the last 15 years, 20 years, everyone that's been in the White House has been to a Bilderberg meeting.
Yep.
They pick their people. They know what they want to do. They've got the agenda. They've got their plan. They've got their playbook, and they know.
It's foreign leaders too.
Exactly. They know who, and they usually take them from banks. Like, look at the guy that's in charge of Cyprus right now. He used to work for Goldman Sachs.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in charge of the country because the Goldman Sachs owns part of Cyprus. They're part of the Troika, the trio that completely divided that whole country, that whole island amongst themselves. Along with everybody that lived there is money. And it's coming here. It's already here. The Fed owns this freaking place. There's 6 banks that own this whole country. They own everything that you're sitting on. And they've got a military at their disposal. And I think it's getting ready to hit the fan. They're coming for what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter how much they chemtrail this planet, no matter how many nuclear reactors melt down and start spewing shit into the water, they think they're going to make it. They think they're going to take their brains out of their bodies and stick them in some kind of little robot thing and go on living forever. Transhumanism. So they're going to keep right on going. They don't care. They don't care what you say. They don't care what I say. Know that, people. Prepare for that. We'll see you tomorrow night for After the Last Cup.
As long as Ragnarok doesn't happen.
Yeah, Ragnarok. End of the world's tomorrow, everybody. Listen for the trumpets. Peace and love. Thanks, Lance.
Peace and love.
Yeah. Y'all have a good year.